for the Sunday sit down. And I told you all, even though that it's Christmas, I would still be here with you for those of y'all that needed an excuse to get away from family, or you're done with the family and you're home for the night. You just want a little bit of entertainment. Yes, that is how migrant workers in the United States were treated by Governor Greg Abbott last night in the wee hours of the night. When are we going to stop using human beings as political pawns? And see, they're looking at the small picture, not the big picture, because the racism that they show in their state that they're getting a pat on the back for, that that doesn't fly in all the states and all the territories. It doesn't. Not at all. But, why not make a statement to hone back in the Trump sycophants? Because that's all you're doing. But on the flip side of the coin, there seems to be a royal turnabout when it comes to the UK monarchy. Let's take a look. Ew.
Has made me go, do you know what? I've switched team. I'm on Team Harry and Meghan.
That video, along with several others I've seen, are great examples of what I'm seeing more and more of online. The reaction to Clarkson's article. Clarkson attends a dinner party with the King's side piece, along with several other British elites, including, unfortunately, Dame Judi Dench. And then he takes that as inspiration to go and write an article of hate about Meghan. And it's not having the desired effect. It's making people actually realise that Harry and Meghan have a point. And the British press and the British elite seem to have a disproportionate problem with her, whilst not having a problem in any way, shape or form with an accused paedophile in their own ranks in Prince Andrew. It's blowing up in their faces. And it's wonderful.
You can scroll. Which kid are you going to serve up to the media? Is it Louis?
It's Louis. It's 100% Prince Louis. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that Will and Kate have sat down and decided which of their 3 children they're gonna offer up as like tabloid fodder. Normally, that's not how it works, right? Meghan was kind of a special case of a trade being made for good press for the rest of the family. When it comes to the royal children, it's more like they're gonna pick one of them to make their focal point, and then the family's just gonna say, well, this is the game. You gotta suck it up, kid. And normally I wouldn't talk about this, except it's already started. Here is an article that appeared in the Mirror this weekend telling us that Prince Louis, a 4-year-old, is going to, quote, take leading royal role at Christmas this year. Louis was notably absent at the Christmas Carol service that Kate hosted at Westminster Abbey, but his older siblings, George and Charlotte, were there. But still, there were a lot of royal watchers and even commenters on my video saying, where's Louis? I miss him and his antics. And I think you wouldn't really be saying that unless you had gotten a taste of what it's like when Louis is at these events during the Platinum Jubilee celebrations this year. I didn't talk too much about this. I think I made 1 or maybe 2 videos, but my bottom line was, this is a child. He was clearly not in his element at the Platinum Jubilee, and that's like, fine, we don't need to talk about it. But besides Meghan and Harry, Prince Louis was like the focal point of a lot of articles about the Platinum Jubilee. So now, apparently, there is a hope that he will be there for Christmas to, quote, give proceedings a lift as he joins his siblings and his parents and his extended family. The subtext here, if you're kind of like in on the game, is that it's too boring. It's too boring without Prince Louis. We pushed Meghan and Harry out. The Queen is passed away. Like, what else do we have? Kate can only wear so many coat dresses. The tabloid media has already picked out the role that Prince Louis is going to play in their narrative for the rest of his life, unless something really changes in terms of the invisible contract. He's gonna be the comic relief, you know, the third child. They already have their future king and his dutiful sister. Do you remember during the Platinum Jubilee, the dynamic that was set up up between these two. During the funeral as well, it was Prince George was there, and Princess Charlotte, his younger sister, was also there, giving him a helping hand, some words of advice. George is painted as the shy, kind of quiet one, still kind of doing his duty. He's 9. I can't believe I'm saying this about a 9-year-old. But Princess Charlotte is also being painted as a responsible, a respectful, a smiling younger sister. Is this ringing any bells? Prince Charles, Princess Anne. So they already have those roles kind of filled. What's left? The comic relief. The Prince Andrew, the Prince Edward. Not comparing Prince Louis to Prince Andrew, character-wise, just saying in the tabloids game that they have made up for themselves, that's where he's gonna fit. I really hope that that's not the case and that I'm wrong, but the fact that we're writing stories like this about a 4-year-old.
I need to interject before I play the next video. No, they're painting this little 4-year-old out to be the next Harry. That's what they're doing. They're missing Harry and Meghan, but they don't want to admit that they screwed up in their scrutiny of Meghan, which made Harry go away. So they're looking for what they had in Harry with Louis. And Louis does have a lot of traits from his uncle. But my thing is keep an eye on Charlotte. Just like her auntie, Princess Anne, she ain't the one to be played with. But let's go on to this last video about them. I'm just saying, if I'm wrong, you can take a screen grab of this, and when they get older, you can come back and go, Taz, you got it wrong. I will admit it. But they're using Louis as the Harry replacement, and they're putting Charlotte into a box that, let's not act like Princess Anne told the line. And I think the comparisons between Charlotte and Anne are very apropos. Charlotte is about to shake some shit up in a way that they're not ready for. And William and Kate are not prepared to deal with Louis because William and Kate want everything proper and in line. And let's look a certain way to the people because they fantasize about us. Forget what's really going on. And forget that we need to give them reality. And that's why Harry and Meghan are so popular. They show what real love is and what real connection is. And they're not hiding behind the pomp and circumstance. Because let's not forget, Waity Katie spent her whole life just to breed a future king, hopefully some princesses, and age herself like cottage cheese in the middle of Dubai in July, knowing that there would be no love. And if you think I'm reaching, Google pictures of Meghan when Harry is there. You'll understand why she has this disdain for Meghan. But let's go.
It's been kind of a rough day to be a child in the British royal family. My last video, we talked about Prince Louis being turned into the comic relief in the tabloids this week. Go watch that if you haven't seen it yet because it will help this video make more sense. And then a few hours later, we saw the Daily Mail's front page for Wednesday, December 21st, which I'm showing you here. Number one, they want you to think that the coordinated dressing that we saw at Kate's Christmas Carol concert was a, quote, cheeky swipe at Meghan. I have a video on that as well. But the second thing that they do is bring Princess Charlotte into it. Her photo was blurred here by royal reporter Omid Scobie, just another one of Meghan's cheerleaders.
Whether it's a Meghan cheerleader or not, when it comes to the royal family, blurring out a face does nothing. It does absolutely nothing. These children have been on camera from the time of their conception to their birth to now. They're everywhere. What's the point of blurring them out? But here's the thing, and I was talking about this to my cousin earlier, and let me tell you what I said. And this is why I say Charlotte is not to be played with. Because as a little girl whose mother would come to her and go, "Oh, you're going to be my mini me tonight. I got us matching outfits," even if it was just in the same color. And then you see somebody else show up, and you see somebody else show up, and you see somebody else show up, and you realize you've been used as a pawn. And Princess Charlotte is old enough to be able to read. Whether she has a tablet or an iPad, she can read. And remember, William and Kate decided to take their children out of private school and put them into public school. What y'all think about to happen? And Charlotte is about to shake some boots. The royal family needs to leave Charlotte alone. Stop using these, excuse me, young children as pawns in y'all game. Just apologize. And hey, here's a novel suggestion. Stop being racist. You do realize that people who pay for you to live, British monarchy, there are people that are not white that are paying for you to live. Maybe, just maybe, stop being racist. Because I feel like if you continue on this trend, your monarchy is about to end. Whether it ends like the Romanovs or the UK just decides collectively to put it on the ballot to stop acknowledging you as the pinnacle. Mm, I'm just saying. I'm just saying. But while everybody's trying to be petty with their outfits to try to denounce what Megan said in her Netflix documentary with Harry, do y'all know about King Chucky's other woman? Y'all know I was gonna bring you the tea. Yeah, King Chucky got a other woman. He had a side to the side piece. It's like he went to KFC, then rode past Lee's Chicken, then went to Popeyes. Let's go.
So it has come to my attention that everybody knows about Charles and Diana, and everybody knows about Charles and Camilla, but apparently nobody knows about his other mistress, and I'm here to expose it because I hate Charles. So this is Lady Dale Tryon. She was born in Australia, and she was known for being a businesswoman and for running her own fashion line, which she named Kanga, which was actually the nickname that Charles gave her. So originally, Lady Dale Tryon actually met Charles at a school dance, I want to say back in like 1966, I believe. But she actually really only got to know him like years later whenever she had like met her husband or whatever. And her husband was actually a friend of Prince Charles. And so because of that, they kind of ran in the same royal circles, kind of the same way that Charles met Camilla. So it was said by Charles himself that Kanga was the only person who really, really knew him. I 100% believe that it is possible that Lady Dale Tryon might have been the love of his life, and the only reason that he didn't go through with it was because she had a loose mouth and she was very public about this affair. She would kind of mince words about it, like she would hint at it, and we all know how Charles is. Charles is an extremely private person, and he was absolutely upset about this. And actually, originally there was bad blood between Diana and Lady Dale Tryon, but both women actually kind of decided to form an alliance because they had one common enemy, and that common enemy was Camilla, because they saw how much time that Charles was spending with her. And I mean, obviously, Diana had a right to be upset, that was her husband, and Lady Dale Tryon was mad because she kind of wanted to continue this affair and be within the royal circle, and So this is actually the dress that Diana wore to the Live Aid concert, and this was kind of like an insane moment in pop culture just because at this point like people kind of knew that that Charles had cheated on Diana. They knew that Kango was had been his mistress. So for Diana to publicly wear these designs, she was publicly aligning herself with Lady Dale Tryon and showing that they were not to be messed with and that they were both against Camilla. Now, unfortunately, Lady Dale Tryon actually did suffer from a lot of health problems. She had spina bifida as a kid and it came back as an adult, and then she was actually also diagnosed with uterine cancer. During these years, it was said that she really tried to reach out to Charles and she tried to really reconnect with him, and he just kind of did not want to. He would just kind of not respond or anything, and it was really, really said to have broken her heart, and she just kind of fell into this really deep depression. Now, unfortunately, I'm running out of time because I can only do 3-minute videos. So just go ahead and click on the next video where I will be talking more about this in part 2.
He didn't want to be with that woman because he knew she was dying. Princess Diana knew where his heart lied, because let's not forget, he originally was dating Princess Diana's older sister and then came to her like, oh, I can mold her, I can do whatever, I can still sow my wild oats, because this was the wayward prince. This was the hotastic prince. But when it came down to it, Camilla was in better health. Camilla didn't want to run around town talking about their affair. But also, if you remember, when he married Camilla, it wasn't all the same pomp and circumstance. It wasn't at the same cathedral. Like, I don't care how much I'm feeling somebody. When I realize that somebody's done their ex so bad and so many people realize it and they're back in the ex, why would I step into that situation? Like, if you treated the best of the best poor as shit, why would I think you would treat me any better? And if y'all remember, uh, right after King Chucky was crowned, Camilla had to keep coming in, making excuses for him, fixing things. He's an incessant child. Now, I got sent with someone labeled a blind commentary. Uh, I'm going to assume that this also entails some blind, incessant childhood bullshit. But let's take a look at the video and then we'll talk about it and we'll continue on with the updates from this weekend. Let's
If
go.
you're willing to show your body to the entire world, that means that you honestly really just don't care about your own body.
Who said that?
I said that.
What if I love my body so much I want the world to see it?
Mm.
Like, you think your opinion's so valid that you made a podcast, right?
Ooh.
Listen.
Oh.
Holla, that's a great point, dude. But I'm still never marrying or dating an OnlyFans girl.
That's fine. I'm just saying, like, your morals aren't as consistent as you say.
So
they
you
are.
would date? Okay, that's fine. You would date an OnlyFans woman?
Why is it always the ones that look like and speak like they have no options? But my thing is, when you have confidence, yeah, you're going to show things off. more than when you don't have confidence. See, this is what these men are telling you that I think a lot of people aren't getting. They want somebody with no confidence, low self esteem that they can control. Because, oh, excuse me. Sorry about that. Um, but when you look at these men and listen to these men, these are men that don't have options. They have zero options. They're trying to convince self-esteem less, confidence less women that they're the end all to be all because they don't want a partner. They want a servant. They want a mommy 2.0. They want somebody that's going to overlook their weaponized incompetence. They want somebody that they can cheat on 100 times over while they're giving all of their money to the bada bing, bada boom girls that they're really attracted to. But they know they don't have a chance for. They know they don't have a chance in hell for really any woman. So they're going after the damaged women that haven't gotten deep enough into their therapy, that don't have a sisterhood around them. And see, it's things like the black girl Twitter trend that helps prevent things like this. When you start to build a sense of community and sisters start talking to sisters, then you start missing out on the disgruntled misters. See, they don't want that to happen. That's also why certain white women are so verklempt and they don't want, community to expand between black women because they know that the moment that it does, they can't pull their shenanigans. Like the woman that was like, I was in the Walmart. You was in the lying. And here it is. You made a great point. But let me take it a step further. There are men that will say, you know what? I messed up. I was young and dumb. I thought I was in love and I had a baby with this woman. Come to find out she was toxic. I've healed from that. I got to move on. But if they hear the same story from a woman, why did you let yourself fall for that? You should have picked better. You should have known better. Like they act like we women and female presenting individuals come out the womb with the ultimate playbook and rule book and a dossier on everybody we could plausibly come in contact with. Like, sir, you went through the exact same situation that she went through. You went through the exact same emotions that she went through. But you want to blame her? Huh? See, it's women are manipulative until a woman is manipulated. Let me repeat that. It's women are manipulative until a woman is manipulated. And just like Megan the Stallion's case showed us, if you're a black woman, it seems like it's better for you to die than fight for justice. Because even after a court of law found him guilty, his daddy that put him out at 15 years old because he was uncontrollable is out here acting like he's a civil rights martyr. Sir, You look like a whole butch stripper. Sit down. And then Tory Lane's mother is out here no better, being pick Misha to the supreme. Like, do not derail the movement. Because your son can't control himself. But you know, cisgendered men are cisgendered men. Let's go on to the ACAB moment of the week. Yeah, New York City had to pass laws to keep the cops from raping people in their custody. But you know, maybe the world is better in like the land of academia. Let, let's take a look at the world of academia.
Cynthia Villagomez, a professor at Winston-Salem State University, demanded an apology from a black student for arguing with her over not leaving class. When asked to leave because of an essay, Villagomez asked the student to redo within a short amount of time. All that aside, Villagomez left the room and returned with the police to then arrest this black student in front of her peers. The video has gone viral. You can find it if you'd like. And if I were to describe what's happening to this black student, Layla Hamoud, it's disturbing. Here she is wanting to be in class even after an argument with the professor, and now she's being physically assaulted by police officers, screaming that they're hurting her, all in front of her peers, and the professor responsible for it all. Winston-Salem State University released a statement saying, "We understand that the weaponizing of police is a prevalent problem in our community. However, that is not what happened in this incident." Well, if that's the case, the question is, if the police weren't weaponized to remove a black body from a classroom, then what were they there for?
And just keep in mind, this university is a HBCU, a historically black college or university. So racists that are online that go, when you black people, you have HBCUs. Do we? Have we ever? Do you know how many HBCUs are named after white people? Do you know how many HBCUs were started by white people or contested coalition members that predominantly just wanted to teach us how to farm? Tuskegee, I hate to come for your neck, but let's not forget your origins. Booker T. Washington, the bootlicker of white folks that was always clamoring to massa to save us all, to fund everything, because he had no faith or conviction in his fellow kindred, his fellow black man. And he started Tuskegee to teach us how to farm. And before you go, Taz, you're reaching. What do you think agriculture breaks down to? He wanted to teach black people what black people had been teaching white people for generations at that point. He didn't want to take us outside of that realm. We could go to college to just have a degree to say, you know what, I'm a better slave than the others. I know slavery ended. Do you? Well, it didn't really end. I know that they just changed the parameters. That's why I went and got this degree. So, you know, unlike Fannie Lou Hamer, you couldn't just keep me here into the 1960s as your slave on your plantation. And, you know, like J Lo and Ben Affleck, I don't want to be decoration as they get married on the plantation. Hmm. So, yeah. And historically, black colleges and universities would not have had to have been a thing if we would have been allowed to attend traditional colleges and universities, and the few of us that could face, the hurdles and the racism. But those that graduated from these schools, and we only talk about the ones that graduated from the Ivy League schools. And who determined that they were Ivy League and they were better? You know what? That's a conversation for another day. But anywho, I digress. Have you all noticed that the vast majority of them are extremely colorist? Like everybody praises W.E.B. Du Bois, like he was fighting for all Black people, but he had the talented 10th. And he always had a white person that he was going to, because he felt like nothing could be accomplished if you didn't have the complexion for protection. And if you weren't light skinned, you you couldn't get into the club. But what else can you expect from a man who, as educated as he was, didn't even know the proper pronunciation of his own name? But let's honor his memory by being grammatically incorrect. Yay. As we try to get people to respect those of us that are melanated and educated. Yay. But y'all still think light bright Rosa Parks is the reason why things changed during the Montgomery bus boycott, where the bus boycott didn't do a damn thing, but the Supreme Court case that was initiated by the very first person who decided, I'm not giving up my seat, Claudette Colbert, and I'm gonna keep talking about the good sister until y'all put some respect on her name. Rosa Parks didn't even like us. Rosa Parks was sometimes white and sometimes. Y'all don't like to hear that, though. Y'all don't like to hear that. You put her up on such a pedestal for being a poster child, no different than white men in Japan or China, where they'll put a white man on the poster and proclaim that he's the head of a company that doesn't even really exist. Or they pay an actor to walk around and go to all these different things. Because even globally, people have been brainwashed to think that white is right and that, a company, a product is so great if there's a white man's face on it. And if you can't get a white man, the second best thing is the white woman. I mean, she created the white man. She patted him on the back for him to, y'all ain't ready though. Y'all ain't ready. But you know how we've had in recent times a lot of talk about drag queens and people protesting drag shows, saying that they were the detriment to children. But what about these deans?
Robert Scott Morris. You guessed it, another one. And of course it's not going to be on the news or the mainstream media or major news reports because they don't want to talk about that. They just want to give airtime to the Proud Boys and libs of TikTok. Robert Scott Morris was a 37-year-old former assistant dean of Wave Leadership College who pled guilty today of possessing 500 files of child sexual abuse. The former assistant dean of the Christian college is actually a large donor to Glenn Youngkin, governor of Virginia. This was a man who trained pastors to preach in churches. Do you remember the Southern Baptist Convention said that they would stop raping children in their churches after the massive file of 205 pages of 702 names came out? Well, shit, the Baptists lied about that too, because here's another one. Montana pastor has been indicted on raping girls under the age of 12 on a reservation. He did this to indigenous girls. 66-year-old pastor of Morning Star Baptist Church. This Morning Star Baptist Church. So again, I say, it's not a drag queen, it's not a trans person, it's not a gay person. It's none of those.
Now, I'm always leery of these pastors that seem to have too much time on their hands. Like, if you're a pastor, first of all, why don't you have a regular 9 to 5? Because if you're going to go biblically correct, you should dress yourself in a clothes donated by your parishioners. by your congregation. You should eat off of what is donated to you, but y'all don't. So why don't you have a job? Why are you not collecting a pension? I already know the answer, but I digress. Um, I'm also very leery of pastors at churches with certain names. You catch what I'm putting down? Do you catch what I'm putting down? They're so worried about drag queens because they're projecting. You want to know what else is projecting? For everybody that criticized me for wanting to vacuum and shampoo my own carpets, how you feeling about them Roombas now?
Looking at me like you want my man.
Did anybody else know that the Roombas have been taking pictures and videos of us? So a woman who has a Roomba was using the bathroom when the Roomba came into the room, and it took a picture of her. And they're saying this is just the tip of the iceberg because this woman's picture was leaked through the internet because it got accidentally shared by one of these coworkers to the internet. But there are multiple thousands of pictures that have been shared that weren't leaked of random people who have Roombas. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. I absolutely think this needs to be investigated because I had no idea that Roomba was taking videos and pictures of me and storing it to a random place on the earth.
Now, given that Roomba has never been advertised as having a sensor or being put on a timer to go out every so often and have a sensor to detect, oh, where there's trash to be picked up. And then recently, I started seeing a whole lot of videos where now there's an app where you can talk to the Roomba like, hey, go to this room and clean up. Instead of me going to an app on my, I might as well just walk across the room and get the vacuum cleaner. And that's how Roomba has known where to go. It's been controlled by a human. And we know when a human sees something tantalizing, they need to share. Just like in that video, a coworker accidentally they didn't accidentally share shit. They had been wondering about what it looked like underneath your clothes. They finally found it and they sent it to their homeboys or their homegirls that they were having a conversation about. You. And they sent it to confirm or deny whatever scenario they came up with. But here's the thing. When you get things that are going to send us into the realm of Wall-E, you have to ask yourself, how does it know when to help me or how to help me? I work in tech. I love tech. Like, my family is flip-flop. You know, where most of the times the kids have to explain something to the parents like, Mom, this is how you do that. No, I'm always showing my kids something. And my kids will text me or call me like, oh, did you know that? Yeah, I knew months ago. So, with that being said, just stop being lazy. You're being set up for us to literally turn into the word of Wall-E. And we don't even know if we have an Eve set up. And we have no sequel to Wall-E, so we don't even know how that goes. Because the globe isn't that great with pre-planning. So if we shot ourselves up into space stations, because the Earth was uninhabitable, where does our fuel come from? Where does the updated information come from? How do we know where to navigate? Hmm. Hmm. Now, from one idiot to the next. Stop the Steal is not too pleased with Marjorie Taylor Greene, who just in the past few days had her divorce finalized. So she's single. I don't know if that's where you want to mingle, but to each their own. Let's take a look.
Oh my god! They be fighting on the maggot streets. The Stop the Steal founder just called Marjorie Taylor Greene a trailer park hood rat for attacking Boba Fett. Trailer park hood rat! I can't!
He's not wrong.
Now, from one sycophant to the next, Carrie Lake, as expected, lost her battle in court. But are you all familiar with the Carrie Lake connections? Would you like to get to know how you get to Carrie Street?
Are you ready for a motherfucking rabbit hole? Buckle up, kids. This is a trigger warning. Let me introduce you to Alan Dershowitz. The bar filed a complaint against Alan over Carrie Lake's voting machine lawsuit, accusing famed lawyer of helping lead the attack on democracy. So he works for Carrie Lake. He used to work for Donald Trump. He defended Donald Trump in his impeachment trial, one of his impeachment trials. He also worked for Jeffrey Epstein as his lawyer. Dershowitz got the sweetheart deal from Larry Acosta, the prosecutor for Epstein. Acosta would later on to go work for the Trump administration, and then Epstein defended Trump in his impeachment trials. On November 8th, the woman who accused Prince Andrews dropped the allegations against Dershowitz from Epstein's island. Here's the situation. There is another girl that has come forward. Sarah Ransom said she was forced to have a threesome with Alan Dershowitz. Dershowitz was Trump's lawyers, he's Carrie Lake's lawyers, and while yes, he is a registered Democrat, we know about Tulsi Gabbard and we know about Kristen Sinema. The rest of them all, I don't give a damn about their political affiliation. The rot is deep.
But on top of all of that, the GOP is fighting.
So, I'm really wondering if Kevin McCarthy is going to end up as Speaker of the House. The vote is in 11 days, but I want you to watch this.
He's not going to be Speaker. The five of us who are publicly resolved not to vote for him, we are not going to cave or give in. Our number is more like 20. There are others who've come out somewhat publicly. Some are keeping their powder dry, so to speak. But we're going to deny him. We'd like him to pull out now for the good of the country, the good of the Congress, and the good of the Republican Party. If he does not do that, we will defeat him on the House floor on January 3rd. And then in subsequent votes, you will see us put forth our true challenger, who will be able to get to that 218 consensus.
What are you hearing? This seems to be an organic grassroots movement to bring Donald Trump into Washington as the Speaker of the House. I mean, he gets immunity, right? As Speaker of the House, he gets immunity, right? So a lot of this stupidity stops. All this money you're spending on attorney fees stops, right?
Yes.
So that's a motivation. Number two,
you don't need to spend a penny on campaigning. You'll be at the epicenter of the political conversation until you decide to relinquish the gavel, which I argue is going to be when you reinstate yourself.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like history trying to repeat itself at all. But he goes on to say he's going to continue researching Kevin McCarthy and that he needs to resign now. So apparently they really don't want Kevin McCarthy as the Speaker, but that begs the question, who are they going to put forward? These people seem to think it's going to be Trump, which I don't think so. But there is a large majority of the real Republicans that refuse to vote for an extremist. So I am counting down the days until January 3rd. Get your popcorn ready.
All I want for Christmas is for Republicans to keep turning on each other. Today we get a Newsmax host turning on Tucker Carlson
Story number 2. This one got my blood pressure going. Tucker. Bah humbug, Tucker. Don't be so mean and don't be so rude. And by the way, Tucker, are you sure you should be saying things like this? Take a listen.
So it's really hard to overstate how crazy this is. And you don't want to play shrink and wonder about, what emptiness at the core of Lindsey Graham's personal life causes him to identify so strongly with a country he's not a citizen of. Something's going on there.
Yeah. Well, Tucker also went on to say Lindsey Graham is coming out, long pause, Lindsey Graham is coming out in favor of the omnibus bill. I'm not sure you're supposed to be doing that, Mr. Tucker. I'm calling you out. You owe Lindsey Graham an apology. Whether you agree with him or not, whether you're Putin's press secretary or not, I think you are, you can't say that about people. That's just not right. All right.
If it's what you say, I love it.
Now it's amazing that they have no problem when people come out and just make outlandish claims about everybody else. But I think this is a push to protect Lindsey Graham because we already know about Lady Lindsey. But I pulled another page. If you follow me on TikTok, you know what I'm talking about from my notes. So let's go into the whole, if Trump is elected to Speaker of the House, he gets immunity. Congress members can't be arrested during their term. Pay attention, during their term, but except in regards to treason, felony, and breach of peace. And breach of peace is a form of disorderly conduct. Now, the January 6th committee is asking that Trump be charged with 4 potential felonies. So that does not give him immunity. Said felonies are obstruction of an official proceeding of Congress. And y'all think he won't do it again? Conspiracy to defraud the United States. He's still defrauding a good bit of the United States. Making false statements, aiding or inciting an insurrection. Obstruction of an official. Those are all felonies. Now, a United States representative only serves a 2-year term. The Speaker of the House is the leader, is a part of, I shouldn't say the leader, but a part of the majority party. GOP, is that why you keep pushing to make things so much harder for other people that aren't white and Christian nationalists and white supremacists to vote? Are y'all just going to keep Trump in office until he dies? Guess what? Trump involved his entire family. But, the same Fox News that keeps protecting certain broadcasters, you might want to rethink that. Because Sean Hannity had what to say?
I don't mean to make this sound like a bigger deal than it is, but did y'all see the recent reports regarding Sean Hannity? I came across this article with the headline, Sean Hannity testified he didn't believe Trump's election fraud lies for 1 second. That didn't stop the Fox News host from featuring fraud proponents with wild, unproven allegations on his show. And that's really the thing I want to talk about in this video. To get into the article, Sean Hannity was apparently willing to promote Donald Trump's bogus election fraud claims on his Fox News show, but unwilling to defend them while under oath. The New York Times is reporting that when Hannity was deposed earlier earlier this year as part of a massive defamation lawsuit brought forward by Dominion Voting Systems against the right-wing network, he basically admitted his real thoughts about the 2020 election being stolen. I did not believe it for 1 second, Hannity testified. However, that did not stop Hannity from hosting fraud proponents like Sidney Powell, who offered wild allegations about Dominion, such as the machine supposedly running an algorithm that switched votes from Trump to Biden. Hannity's confession came out in court during a hearing on Wednesday to address several issues that need to be resolved before the case heads for a jury trial scheduled to begin in April. But Hannity's Dominion disclosure does suggest that at least some Fox employees were aware they were broadcasting fake news. Go figure! I am befuddled. You're telling me that Fox News was lying to its viewers? What? Are you telling me that they were capping? Times noted that the high legal standard of proof in defamation cases required Dominion to persuade a jury that network employees were saying one thing in public and another in private. In fact, Dominion lawyers argued in a Delaware courtroom on Wednesday that not a single Fox witness had produced anything that supported any of the bogus election fraud claims Trump and his supporters promoted after the 2020 presidential election. Dominion lawyer Stephen Shackelford told the court that Hannity's doubts were echoed in depositions with other Fox hosts and executives, including Tucker Carlson, who he said tried to squirm out of his deposition when asked about what he really believed. HuffPost reached out to Fox News. No, I got it right the first time. For comment, but no one immediately responded. I hope this video hits the For You pages of every single person that watches Fox News. Y'all need to share the shit out of this because this is insane. Fox News was literally lying to their viewers. And I mean, we've known this, but Fox News viewers haven't. They have been lying to their viewers to try and get them riled up and angry, to try and get, Republican, politicians to get more support, all the while not believing a single thing that they were saying. That is insane. Fox News should be shut down. That actually makes me mad. Respectfully, Fox News and everybody who contributes to Fox News can kick rocks. Fox News is an answer K to America, spreading nothing but hateful, dangerous garbage. And they don't even believe it. It's all for the money, and after reading this, wow, how do y'all live with yourselves?
They live with themselves regarding the donations that come in. That's their driving force. And you see the remorse on their faces after the midterm elections. Because they will question and go, why didn't conservatives, why didn't Republicans do X, Y, and Z? After they've spent years telling people they should be afraid of that thing. Mm-hmm. I don't want to run this too long, so tomorrow I'm going to give you all a bonus live show. It'll be in the afternoon, so if you're not already subscribed and you haven't clicked the bell, do that now so that you'll be made aware of the precise time that we're going to go live. As always, each one teach one, each one reach one. And thank you for joining me tonight. And if you needed to escape your family and I helped you do that, Feliz Navidad. Let's go. Wait, before we end the show, I forgot about one particular video. My bad. Let's run it.
Claimed internet sleuth sued for defamation after she repeatedly claims a University of Idaho history professor is responsible for the murders of 4 students. So how strong is this professor's case? Imagine waking up one day and finding out that there's a TikTok page basically dedicated to calling you a murderer. That happened to Professor Rebecca Schofield of the University of Idaho. She is a history professor there, and Schofield is suing a woman named Ashley Gillard for defamation after Gillard posted more than 20 videos accusing Schofield of taking part in the murders and having a relationship with one of the victims. Maddie Mogan, Kaylee Gonsalves, Xana Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin were all murdered in an off-campus home on November 13th. Schofield says, to her knowledge, she's never met any of these students, and she's never had any of them in her history classes. Right after the murders, Ashley Gillard started posting TikTok videos about Professor Schofield, claiming that she partnered with someone else to commit these murders. According to Schofield's lawsuit, her lawyers sent 2 cease and desist letters to Gillard, but she didn't stop posting about her and claiming that the professor was involved in the murders. We've reached out to Ashley Gillard, and as of this recording, we haven't yet heard back from her. I also reached out to Professor Schofield directly, and her lawyer sent a statement. Statements made about Professor Schofield are false, plain and simple. What's even worse is that these untrue statements create safety issues for the professor and her family. They also further compound the trauma that the families of the victims are experiencing and undermine law enforcement efforts to find the people responsible. In order to provide answers to the families and the public, Professor Schofield twice sent cease and desist letters to Miss Gillard, but Miss Gillard has continued to make false statements knowing they are false. Thus, this lawsuit became necessary to protect Professor Schofield's safety and her reputation. A TikTok.
Now, this TikTok creator claims that this information came to her in a dream, but she can't prove it. She also claimed to have solved the Shanquilla Robinson case, but we know that hasn't been solved. And she claims to have solved another case. This is why I don't do the whole true crime thing. This is why I wait for facts to come out. And when parents of victims speak out, I amplify their voices. But to just randomly pick somebody and put them in the line of fire, the police are actively investigating, and we know the police don't have that great of a track record in regards to solving cases. So why would you muddy the waters for some clicks, some likes, some views, to increase your following? Like, these are real human beings. These are people that are being mourned. Like, I just recently gave up fighting with my family because I had a cousin that passed away because of a tragic accident. And the bullshit narratives they were trying to push out that was muddying the waters. But for some people, they don't care. I've seen influencers that have spent their entire online career talking about how they have small children, and they were on live sun up to sundown yesterday, and they're currently on live sun up to sundown today. What memories are those children gonna have? Like, as Cardi B said, some people will do anything for clout. Okay. This time I'm for real. As always, thank you for joining me. Each one teach one, each one reach one. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Actually, twice tomorrow.